Welcome. I'm Lucy Brand,
Hello, everyone, and I'm Natasha Harris.
and we're the co-founders of the Circle of Light movement. And we're going live today on a hot topic of how to navigate through the storm, because this is quite relevant for me at the moment. So I think we just, we want to share any tips and how to support you if you're navigating your own storm right now, because the world is quite chaotic at the moment. So I feel that in these times, generally, for most of us, if we're having a quiet week or a peaceful week this week, we might have had a storm the previous week, or we might be heading into a storm. So we'd really love to support you in finding peace and calm with that and sharing some tips. So I'm just going to share some share this video out on my page right now. If you're ready, Natasha, are you ready?
Yeah, definitely. I think this is such an important thing. I think that, we're going through, so much right now. There's storms going on, and like this weekend, we're in the UK. I'm in London. There was a pretty big storm, like kind of lots of winds, moving things around, shifting things around, like leaves everywhere. Like I had to like fight to get out of my gate. And I love it when the winds really pop up, because it really, for me, symbolizes like a change is coming, a real change, a real shift in the energies, a movement. And I can feel that in my soul when it comes up. So, it's like when things sort of shift and storm in our lives, it's like, what is the magic on the other side of that? What is this chaos or this disorder, and this, it's only temporary. Something will come on the other side of it. And what's that? And it's like almost as though, for me, I feel like I'm kind of got one foot in where I am, and like the chaos is going on around me, and I'm a bit overwhelmed, or I'm a bit like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And just to breathe and to be in that, but know that I am navigating myself towards change. Because if I can navigate my way through it, change is guaranteed on the other side. It's like when we get so bombarded with the shift and the change and the winds and the storm that's going on around us, whether that's family, whether that's in our business, whether it's something that's coming up around our health and well-being, we can get stuck. We can really get stuck and stay there in that chaos and that disorder and that storm for far too long, longer than we need to.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like it's about acknowledging that storm that you're in, but not attaching to it, which is what I full transparency, I'm struggling with right now. There's a lot of times, hi Marina, there's a lot of times where I can be the observer, like, and I love that, even in my own life and with my own actions, my own self. It's like be the observer of what's going on, or the chaos that's going on around. And I'm very good at detaching from that so that I can find peace in my own life or come to my own conclusions. But I have to admit, at the moment, I'm really struggling to detach. And what that looks like for me is, instead of being the observer, I'm getting bogged down with the details, which is stressing me out. And how that impacts my body is that I grind my teeth in my sleep, even with a mouth guard, which causes all the back of my neck to go solid and headaches. So how do I navigate this is to keep my vibration still high and my frequency expanded, and to be able to focus on that, like Natasha said, the change on the other side, that I'm the growth on the other side, the blessings on the other side. Is what can I do to keep myself tethered to myself and my reality? And for me, that's through running, because if I can run off the stress, that really helps me in the beautiful countryside. It's getting horse cuddles, because so many horses where I live. It's like going and being with them and cuddling them. Massage is another great one for me to get out of my head and into my body. I find for me that writing lists as well, like lists upon lists, so then I can tick stuff off when it's done.
It's very satisfying.
It's so satisfying. And also then, because my other fear, I guess, with things like this is that I've dropped the ball a couple of times. And so, and that really stresses me out, because I think, what else have I dropped the ball in? So having a list, it sounds so simple, but it really helps me, because even then I'm like, okay, I've got everything on this piece of paper, so I know I've got a lot of balls in the air at the moment, but I'm not going to drop one because it's there on the list. So there's some things that I'm using now to navigate, but I'm still in flux, I'm like expanded, elated, and then it's like contracted.
Yeah.
And I think that's just being a human when you do go through these
Yeah.
challenging times.
Yeah, absolutely. Being human is not an easy thing to navigate. And I think for me, it's like like this idea of polarity and duality, and that they all coexist with each other. And that what we've got nailed as human beings is like, when everything's going great, when everything's still and quiet, and the sun is shining, and everything's like, oh, everything's just coming to me, and it all feels easy. We have that. We can do that well. We can be happy. We can be joyful. We're like, yeah, look at this, how easy it has. Oh, I have it. And we really got that bit nailed. But something that's really been coming up for me recently during things that we are, and as Marina says, feeling emotionally unsteady recently. There's lots of stuff going on. There's lots of things. We are living in a very dualistic world. There's polarity going on all over the stuff. There is a storm ensuing all around us right now. And it's the question I have been coming back to is like, who do I want to be in that storm? When I'm cool and I'm like, everything's sorted, everything's good, look at me, aren't I great? I'm happy, everybody wants to be around me. But when things are not going the way I want to, when there is a storm in my world, when something's going on with my family, was like, as Lucy said, you've got a big move going on, a big expansion, a big change going on in your life. Who do you want to be when the storm is around you? How do you want to show up? What do you want to model? What energy do you want to elevate, rather than be stuck in the polarity of it? And this is by no way or means saying we cannot have emotions about anything. Feel it. If you're feeling emotionally unsteady, feel it with every fiber of your being, but also know that you can be whoever you want while you navigate through that. We can be a nightmare. We can be a terror to live with. We can be, we've all done it. Like, quite frankly, sometimes, I look at my past and how I've behaved when things have not been going my way, I am not proud of. The person I used to be is not somebody I aspire to be anymore. Do I get it right all the time when there's a storm whipping around me? No, I still lose my temper. I still get angry. But I can look at that and go, is that what I want to continue? Or do I look at that and go, what has that triggered in me? What has that brought up for me? How can I sit with this? How can I heal it? And how can I navigate myself through this difficulty without trying to fix it? How can I navigate it differently? And that has been a real support, a help, a shining light through these times right now.
And I completely agree with that. I love that. And how can I navigate this differently? I believe in order to be able to do that, you need to create space. Because if you're going to get caught up in the storm, then you're going to be going along with it, like I mentioned before, untethered. And that's when we react rather than responding. And we all do it. We all do it. We all lose our temper and all of that, especially if we're under stress and pressure.
Oh, yes.
But what can you do to create space to have those moments of reflection, to have those moments of breathing, grounding into yourself, and those moments of clarity? And it might be that you need to apologize as well. You might need to be the bigger person. I know I have had to do this last week because I've been a snappy witch. I have to say, I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. And my partner's like, I get it. Because then he was freaking out about something else the other day. So we're working in tandem, we're helping each other navigate this. But it might be that you need to pause and reflect and apologize. And also, I feel like if you are in the eye of the storm, sometimes we can be a bit like, why have I attracted this? what's the lesson I'm here to learn in this? But sometimes that's not the time to do it when you're in the eye of the storm, because that can add to more pressure on yourself to understanding why it's happened. Why not go with the flow, accept the emotions that are coming up, create space to accept the emotions and let them go and forgive and like apologize if you need to. And then after the event, when you're on the other side, maybe that's the time to look back and reflect, not while you're in the eye of the storm. Because sometimes, don't forget, we're only human. Like, we're not only human, but we are human. So sometimes we only have a certain amount of capacity, whether that's energy, whether that's time, whether that's resources, whatever that might be. And if you're full at capacity while going through a storm, trying to work out why this storm is happening is not going to help. It's like, I'll bank that for now. I'll do what serves me so that I can move through this storm with grace and compassion, and then give myself time to reflect on the lessons learned, if there are any. Sometimes we might not know the lessons till 10 years after, and that's okay too.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. It's like, but it's having that awareness that we're going through the storm in the moment. We might not be able to navigate it immediately, but if we can to some degree create to do that, then we can do it. And without trying to fix it, I just want to talk into that, gives you the feeling, Marina says, gives you the feeling of a huge weight being lifted off your shoulders. Because when we are trying to fix it, we are in masculine energy. It's doing, it's hard work, it's push, it's effort. And we want to get through it as quickly as we can. And we miss the lessons on the other side. We miss the opportunity for growth. It's, not all storms are destructive. There is, things are moving, things are being dispersed. If we think about nature, when the storm whips up, seeds are being thrown everywhere. They get buried under leaves. They go down into the earth, and they get ready to germinate in spring. There is growth on the other side of it. But often what we do in trying to fix it is we try to bypass the winter. We try to bypass all of it, and we don't water that seed and allow it to grow on the other side. So what creating space looks like is a question that's just popped up on the feed, is by allowing ourselves not to hold on too tightly, to get through it, to push, to navigate. I must move through it. This is hard. This is tricky. Breathe. Breathe. Breath is the most extraordinary thing that our whole life and being depends on it, yet we don't do it deeply enough. We aggravate through our breath, our nervous system. We put ourselves in high levels of anxiety and stress. We feel like we're going to die. It's so debilitating. Breath, come back to the breath, slow down, take your foot off. You will navigate through it much better if you go at it slower. That's what's creating space. If you think about the analogy of driving a car from here to Manchester with your foot flat down on the gas, I need to get there as quickly as possible. You're going to crash in the first 3 minutes. And you're going to go, where'd that tree come from? Well, I was going 100 miles an hour. I didn't even see it coming. That is what happens. Slow it down. When the tree comes, you have an opportunity to go, oh, okay, there's a tree in front of me. Which way do I want to navigate? Left or right? What's the better way? What can I learn here? How do I get there? You will get there much quicker, because with your foot flat to the ground, you're stuck at that tree for weeks. Slow it down, create space, breathe, come back to the breath. The breath will nourish you. It will calm the nervous system. It will reduce the level of anxiety and stress you're feeling in your body. And then you get divine wisdom come through, a thought, an idea. Oh, well, maybe I could do that. Oh, okay. If you don't create the space, those things haven't got room to come in.
Yeah, I completely agree. And that creating space might look different to different people. So yesterday I had a headache because of, like I said, I've been grinding my teeth. And so yesterday I just went to bed. Like, I didn't sleep, but I just got into bed because that's my safe space. My body knows, like, I can instantly feel my muscles relax. So I know that I'm not going to be grinding my jaw like unconsciously. And I just got in there, and, like, to be honest, I just stared into space for like 45 minutes because my brain was so buzzy. I needed space. I needed my brain to quieten down and not have any more input into it. I needed my body to calm down, and I just needed silence, like absolute silence. And that was what creating space for me meant, like, in that moment. Creating space for me in the after this, I'm going to go for a run, and that again creates space. I find that the intensity of running, like moving my body, is actually the surrender after the run, where you're like, oh, and you actually let go because you've, I'm not struggling to describe it, but once, if you running and pushing yourself and the momentum, and then you stop, that creates the space, the surrender for something to drop in. And because, well, I get really high from running, so like the endorphins are going. So if I think about creating space on that frequency, then only expansive ideas or solutions are going to drop in for me in that place. So that's kind of creating space in the energetic. But it could also be creating physical space in your diary. Like, get organized. If you're in a storm, get organized. And to do that, you need to get centered, breathe, like Natasha said, and quieten the mind and prioritize. So I've organized all my clients so that I've now got a definite date to pack my office up, because I'm moving, but pack my office up and do some other things. So I've created physical space to make way for my priorities. So they're not just bouncing around my head on another to-do list. It's like, actually, I've organized myself to do them. So, like, they're just some examples of how I create space to serve myself. And I've also booked a massage for myself because I know that helps. Yeah. Like, I have the most amazing spiritual experiences anyway with a massage, but like, I know that that's what my neck needs, and that's what my nervous system needs, is a really nice massage, which is just all about me, not about anyone else.
Absolutely. Oh, well, enjoy that. That sounds brilliant. Yeah. And there's all sorts of different ways you create. For me, being in nature is so important as well. You know, being out in the forest, being out, just going for a walk, you know, seeing space can just feel like, if you look at the sky for for a minute, 30 seconds, it's like, oh, and you can feel that expansiveness again coming back. You know, notice what's going on for you, observing it. That's where the true magic happens while you're going through the storm. And it's like, it really is healing. It is really, life is up and down. Life will continue to throw things at you. They're generally for you. There's an opportunity for everything. To heal yourself, to look at things, to see what's going on for you. I was listening to something recently, and it's like, we are being activated all the time. We'll hear something that's like exciting, but at the same moment we can be triggered by something. It's like, oh my goodness, and it highlights something for us. And it's like, what is our opportunity to learn and grow and navigate through that, so that we don't end up deeply in the storm? Because sometimes we create our own storms.
Yeah.
We can create our own storms out of nothing, just because we're looking around and we're going, oh, look at what everyone else is doing, and why aren't I doing that? And we go into a lack of, our own space of lack and limitation and doubt and worry and downright fear, and we kick up and create our own storm. And so sometimes for me, it's really useful for me to look at that and go, am I creating this myself, all by myself? And I'm just getting people, like, I'm talking to people and they're going, oh yes, that's terrible. And I'm I'm getting people to back up my story that I've created. And how do we create that? Hang out with people that allow us to feel the calm within the storm. Be with people that, while you are going through a storm, they calm you, they support you, they see you. They allow you to be you, and really allow allow you to be you. We are human. We're not here to eliminate the storms. I really truly believe it's how we navigate our way through them that really makes us into powerful beings, and not power over, just powerful, radiant beings that, you know, are able to navigate life that's is far less stressful, far less exhausting. I think, for me, I think that's the thing I feel. So don't be afraid to shake things up. You know, don't be afraid to shake things up. Sometimes things need a good shake up as well. But how do you want to walk through that? There is magic on the other side of it if we keep walking through it. I truly, truly believe that. I know that from evidence of what I've created in my life as I've walked through many, many storms in my business, in my life, in my relationships. It's magical. The magic is on the other side of it.
I completely agree. And sometimes it just needs time and trust.
Yes.
Like there's nothing else but time and trust. And that, I believe, comes from letting go. So like I said, I'm working on at the moment is trying to let go of attachment. Like just when you let go and you trust and give it time, sometimes it resolves itself as well. Like sometimes especially if it's with someone else, like if this is a bit of a turbulent time in a relationship with someone else, sometimes the other person just might need some time and space.
Yeah.
And then you can come back and have a beautiful conversation and see it from each other's perspectives or whatever it might need to heal that and move on. But yeah, and trusting as well that the other person or the situation is for your highest good. And if you are struggling with that, then I always use the mantra, for the highest good of myself and all involved. I understand that this is for the highest good of myself and all involved, because then you're offering it up. Like you're not focusing on I'm going to say negative, but you're not focusing on the negative or the details which are stressing you out. You're offering it up to the highest good for the highest outcome of all involved. Yeah. So just keep repeating that mantra as well, because I find that gives me peace as well.
Yeah, I love that. That's a really powerful mantra, isn't it? Because, and I do think, you know, as we let go of things suddenly do sort themselves out. You're absolutely right, Lucy. Thank you for that reminder, because it's in the holding on to something that we put more energy into it. We create more resistance. We create more blocks. We create more trauma around something. But as we let it go, it just kind of dissipates, it dissolves. I find that time and time and time again. So perhaps one thing you might want to do is just look back at, like, when you've actually let go, you've softened the edges around something as you've been going through something. Look for that evidence. Where is actually those things that you've worried about, those things that you've had sleepless nights over? They're just you've forgotten about, because they've just happened and it's just sorted itself out. So that might be a good thing to have a look at as well. So thank you for that reminder, Lucy. That's a good one. I love it. So
I just wanted to share, so I've just noticed we're both in autumnal earthy colours today.
Yes, I know. I stole this out of my mother's wardrobe, actually, to be honest. She took it, I took it out and I was like, oh, I really like that. And she's like, oh, I don't wear it. She says, you can have it. I was like, all right, I will.
That's what my mum does to me all the time as well.
So, yes, it is feeling very autumnal, but beautiful and bright. So I just wanted to say thank you ever so much for joining us today for this chit chat, this hot topic, how to navigate through the storm if you're experiencing one right now, or for when you actually do. And if you've got any comments, if you've got any thoughts, if you've got any questions, please do leave us a comment and tag us, and we will come back to you and we'd be happy to answer that. And if you've loved this conversation, then please do join us every Thursday at 1 p.m. UK time. We're here live on different platforms, sharing it out all across the social media networks. And we'd love to invite you and bring your friends, share this out. If you found it really helpful, share it on your platform. Let others know if they may need this, just this one little nugget that they might get from this 20 minutes or so. And if you want to come and join us for our community, do come and join our waitlist. And we will be opening doors very, very soon to our Circle of Light movement membership. So keep your eyes peeled.
And I just want to say a real special thank you to Marina for joining us live and for all your questions. I've just loved receiving them and just having this conversation with you as well, my love.
Yes, totally. Thanks, Marina. We'll see you soon. See you next week. Bye for now.
Bye.